Okay, let's do something else with respect to what we did previously, that is microwave. So let's open the project. We had given the name as test. Let's expand this, let's expand this, let's expand this. And this is what we had done, right? Now, later on, I realized something that when I am using my microwave, once it has started working, that is once I've pressed start button, and while it is running, the timer keeps going down. And if while it is counting down, if I press the start button again, the timer actually increments, right? So how do we show that? We will show this by doing something like this. Now let's bring it away from already existing transitions. Okay. So here what I do is I show that the event is start. Okay. So I save it, and the guard condition is working. That is, it means it is doing some kind of cooking. Okay. And the effect of that is increment timer. Yes, that is the effect of this event. Okay, so that is one additional thing that I thought of, uh, or rather I observed, and which I am documenting it here. Okay, now apart from this, what else we can do? Let's try to understand how this whole behavior works. For that, we will create as behavioral UML diagram, that is a sequence diagram. Okay, so let's start off. Now we know it is always the user who starts the whole thing off. So I'll bring in an actor. Let's call him a user. And how does he interact with the microwave? He interacts with a button, basically a start button. Now he will also be interacting with a pause button. Okay, and we will also be having a door. We will be having a timer. Let's stick to standard. This is door, timer, and we will also have an alarm kind of thing, which will make a sound. So let's say alarm. Now, because there will be a lot of communication between these, so what we'll do is we will introduce a separate element here which will coordinate this. Let's call it as microwave controller, right? So we have these things. The whole thing starts off by the user putting the dish inside, closing the door, and pressing the start button. So press. Okay. Now when he presses the start button, what happens? Does the microwave start off? Yeah, it starts off, but in the background, what happens is it will in turn ask the, not this, it will ask the microwave controller to start. And what the controller will do is it will first check with the door whether it is closed, and let us say it returns yes. So basically here I am trying to show that it is a return message. It is a return, and the return value is boolean, true or false. And let's assume here that this is yes or true, that it is closed. What next? Remember, it was supposed to start. It first checked whether the door is closed, and then it will ask the timer to start counting down. So start the timer. It will ask the alarm to beep, a audible indicator that it has started. And then maybe before or after, let's say before, we need a micro. Okay, now we require something else as well. What's that? We also need a microwave generator, the actual device which will be generating the microwaves. So let's say microwave generator, and the controller will ask it to start. Remember, I can press this start button even after it had started. So which means in that case, when it is already working, if I press on start, what should happen? Remember, just now I added that if the user presses start and the microwave is already working, then the timer will be incremented, right? So what I'll do is here I'll check whether it is already working. If it is working, then I'll increment the timer. So how do I do that? One of two things should happen, right? So whenever we have such conditional behavior, we use a fragment, right? And is working equal to true, and the other option will be is working equal to false. So if it is not working and the user presses the start button, what should happen? Start should happen. But here it has become a opposite, na? Opposite condition. Is working equal to true, start. No, it is exactly the opposite of what we want. So what I'll do is I'll select this fragment and I'll use this, click on this arrow key so that the conditions change. Okay. Now one is working and the other is this. So in either case, a beep sound should occur. So I'll take it out of the fragment. Now, as part of is working equal to false, it should start. In this case, what should happen? It should increment the timer, right? So I will say increment timer. So one is start, one is increment timer. And then beep will happen and the microwave generator will be started. So now the microwave is working. At some point, either the timer will run out or the user himself will, you know, stop the whole thing. Okay, how do I show that? Again, I can use a fragment and let's say alternate flows, and I name this as stop. Now the user, no, not this is not the user, this is the user. He presses the pause button twice, or I can say long press. Now here this is correct. Now here he presses, he gives a long press. Now when he does a long press on the pause button, it is as good as cancel, or rather stop. There is another way in which this can stop when the timer. So which means I need to put two conditions, right? Auto stop and manual stop. Now in this case, which one is this going to be? This is going to be manual press. So I'll bring it here. And in this case, it will be a auto stop where uh, the timer will send a signal to the microwave controller, and it will basically send a timeout signal. Now in either case, what should happen? In either case, the controller has to stop the generator. So it will ask it to stop, and after stopping it has to give a, which one is this? This is alarm. So it will give a long beep saying the work is done. So as you have noticed, we are describing the sequence in which these events occur. Whereas in a state machine diagram, we really don't bother with the sequencing of these messages. We are more interested in the states than in the events themselves. Whereas here, we are more interested in the events and the sequencing of these events. Okay, is that the end? No. Here we have taken care of start and we have taken care of stop. Now we also have a pause. We can press the pause button, in which case it is not going to be a long press. It is going to be a, just a press. See, remember this could always be looked at differently. We could have a separate button for stop, right? So accordingly, we might have to make some changes. Okay, so again, pause can happen in two ways. What are those ways? One is when the user manually presses the pause button, and the other is when the user opens the door. So one is this, and the other is the door sends a signal to the controller saying door opened. Door has been opened, or the user presses the pause button. Now when the user presses the pause button, the button in turn will tell the controller that asking it to pause. Okay, so again, I need to show that both may not happen simultaneously. So again, I will put a fragment and I will say that this is pause, just a title for this fragment. And one of the conditions is manual pause and the other is auto pause, right? So let's make sure that it encompasses these, and actually it is opposite, right? Auto pause is door open. So let's reverse this. Let's take it up. So either the user opens the door or he presses the pause button. In either case, what should happen? The controller will stop the generator. So he will stop the generator and then stop the or pause the timer. So where is the timer? Timer is here. Timer will be paused and then an audible sound. So since it is paused, Let's call it as peep. It will make a peeping sound. Anything else that we need to do? So let's go through it once more. The user presses the start button. The start button will tell the controller to start. Controller will check with the door, is it closed? It will return yes, it is closed. If it is not working, that means it is not running, then it will start the timer. Then this will not be executed. It will make a beep sound and it will start the generator. It will ask the microwave generator to start generating the microwaves. Okay, so now this whole thing is microwave is running. Now while running, if I press the start button again, is working equal to true, so increment timer. At some point in time, the timeout will occur, or he will do a long press, in which in either case stop, the generator will be asked to stop the generation. Long beep. If I do a short press, then what will happen? Or I open the door, it is equivalent to pausing the microwave. So controller will receive pause and it will stop the microwave generator, pause the timer and make a beep sound. Another thing is, let's say, let's just go through whether we have taken care of everything. This is smoke alarm detected, we have not taken care of. So let's go there. Now when it is running, when the microwave is running, and at that time if smoke is detected, then it should stop the microwave. Now that will happen as part of stop. So where is our stop? Stop is here. So that means you require first of all a smoke detector. So let's add one more lifeline. Let's call it as smoke detector. So we need to have a stop. So microwave controller receives smoke detected signal. Smoke detected. So whenever it receives that signal, what should it do? And this happens as part of a separate condition, right? So let's make some space and let's add one more condition to this and say smoke. And this will go out. Actually, this should go out. Okay. And this will go down here. And the message is smoke detected. In either of these three cases, it will stop the generation and it will do a long beep. If timer times out or manually it is stopped or smoke is detected, it will stop the microwave generator. It will do a long beep and it should also stop the timer. And it's not just stopping it, it is reset so that it goes back to the default value. So that is the sequence diagram for our microwave generator. So now let's arrange it properly. Don't try to do both drawing and arranging simultaneously. First focus on the logic. Okay, one message we have missed out, that is this. See, the user does a long press uh, on the pause button, and the pause button should inform the microwave controller. So this one message we missed. or rather I missed. So this would be stop, right? Stop. Another very important aspect is this. We have got the flow down. Another thing that we need to look at is when these devices communicate with our controller. See, timeout, right? Does it really does the timer really bother what happens with its signal? No. So what we'll do is we will say that it is asynchronous, right? So it's a message, the return of which it is not interested in. It doesn't bother what happens to it. It just sends the signal, and in this particular case it basically just ignores what happens afterwards. Okay, similarly, smoke detector, that sends the signal again asynchronously. It may continue to send, but each time it sends, it doesn't wait for a response. Okay, any other messages going from a device? Okay, so we have this, that's all. So remember, synchronous messaging is when the calling object waits for the return, whereas asynchronous message doesn't wait for a return. Okay, now similarly here, this also is going to be asynchronous. Why? Because microwave controller will send ask the alarm to do a long beep, but it doesn't wait, it keeps going forward. Okay, so like this you have to look at all those messages where the the calling object doesn't wait for the message to be completed. So that is another very important aspect. That's it for now. Bye.